Aki stands there confused as Masamune shouts at her. Suddenly, Kanetsugu pushes him to the ground, shouting at him and calling him shallow. The situation is quite hypocritical for Kanetsugu, who herself is a shallow liar. Kanetsugu grabs Masamune's shirt, telling him he won't let a popular guy use Aki for his pride. This calms Masamune, and he tells the two that he has never been popular. Kanetsugu assumes it's all a fool's play, but Masamune continues despite her interruptions. He tells them his memories as a little kid involve being bullied due to his fat body, until he ends up in the yard of an arrogant little girl. A girl arrogant to everyone but him. She saved him from the bullies and became his only friend. By this time, all of Masamune's focus is on Aki, who now realizes that indeed Makabe is her little friend Masamune. Kanetsugu exclaims, "It's all a lie," and tries to convince Aki the same, but there seems to be a little loose end in her convincing. As Masamune punched her, the buttons of her shirt became loose, revealing she is a girl pretending to be a guy. Unable to come up with a response, she excuses herself and rushes away. The two old friends left behind feel extremely awkward about how to act. They banter about how Aki was dumb enough to not realize Kanetsugu was a girl, but then the situation shifts to the question that Masamune ended up asking Aki while in his dramatic flow. He asked Aki to go out with the real Masamune and not wanting to let go of this chance. Aki accepts being his girlfriend, making sure she has an upper hand in this relationship since he asked her out. Masamune remains speechless at the turn of events. Kanetsugu visits her sister, who gets worried seeing her bruise. The little girl worries that her older sister is crying, but Kanetsugu starts laughing out loud at how her secret is finally it, and she feels a relief. The girls get called out for laughing out loud in a hospital. Masamune works out in his home when his sister calls him out, but he is too spaced out to listen. She screams at him, making him fall off his treadmill. The next day at school, a girl asks out Masamune, making him wonder how many would do that. He politely rejects her, making her realize that he has the cruel princess fallen for him. She still tries to persuade him to make her his side chick, only for Masamune to run away from the wild situation. Near the lockers, he meets Fujinomiya, who tells him that the power couple broke many hearts. He suddenly recalls that she asked him out as well, but she stops him, telling him that they all should just see how things progress with time. During the class, Masamune ponders over the recent events when he gets a text from Aki to get him some bread for lunch. Even though annoyed at her princess's behavior, he reaches the battlefield called the lunch line. He cannot find the courage to push through the line, but a text from Aki about dying, like a zebra, makes him want to get done with this. He fights through the line and screams for some bread when the girl on the counter tells him to try shouting like he did the other day. He is shocked to see Kanetsugu serving at the canteen. The two move on aside when Masamune shows his surprise, and Kanetsugu tells him that the school took pity on her since she is flat broke. Upon Masamune's confusion, she shares how it was all her plan to get financial support from Akai's family, but since it failed, she sold her mansion to pay off the debt and pay for her sister's treatment. She tells him how it's relieving to not have to be so hard on herself anymore. Masamune is glad that she is at peace now, surprising the girl who was wandering around using his name. She then jokes that Masamune should be responsible for hitting her and making her his wife. The poor guy freaks out, not realizing she is just messing with him. The two then part on a funny note. Aki is seen to be trying to drag a stove into the storage room when Masamune appears with her lunch. Masamune helps her drag the stove to the center and wonders if she is planning to spend the whole winter in this cold shed. He then hands the food to the zebra in a state of life or death. The two argue over his inability to show gratitude, but then she tells him they should visit this new donut place after school since Masamune eats less and she likes the chubby version of him. Masamune politely declines the offer, making her sad about how to repay him then. Out of instinct, Masamune grabs her chin, telling her that her intention of wanting to repay is enough for him. Yoshino appears with kerosene to use for the stove while Masamune takes his leave. Masamune wonders how he does not have anyone to hate anymore since Aki turns out to be innocent, while Yoshino felt bad for her actions all these years. He later sits in the park he used to visit to plot against Aki with Yoshino and misses the time he spent with her. Yoshino appears there, surprising him. He then asks if everything is good for her, which is since he did not reveal the truth to Aki yet. He then mentions how despite everything, he is still going out with Aki now. Yoshino is glad at that, and is about to take her leave when Masamune starts panicking and freaking out about not knowing what to do now. He has never gone out with anyone and with the turn of events does not know how to act. He begs Yoshino to help him in some way while he tries to throw the leech from her. She then sighs and gives him the last tip that the 24th of the month is Aki's birthday and she would like it if he spent it with her. Masamune happily tries to fist bump Yoshino, but she doesn't respond and tells him that she would not be making any contact with him anymore, leaving Masamune bewildered. Masamune, Yoshino, and Aki spend their lunch break in the shed, where Masamune shares his birthday, falling in January, and questions Aki's birthday. Aki makes him take a guess, which Masamune intentionally answers wrong, just to look at the cute, proud expressions of Aki that make her look like a child. Masamune then swiftly offers to spend her birthday with her, which Aki accepts. He tries to give a thumbs up to Yoshino, who ignores him just like she told him she would. Now that Yoshino has refused to associate with him, Masamune has a hard time deciding how to spend the day nicely. He surfs through various magazines trying to find good date ideas, but fails to decide on an option. Masamune then notices Chinatsu decorating the Christmas tree and asks her how she would like to spend a Christmas date. The little girl fancies going to a castle that is rented out for her and dancing while cosplaying as a princess. Upon being asked for a realistic date, Chinatsu decides it's realistic to have dinner at a hotel with an ocean view. The little girl sure dreams a lot. Understanding the won't get a decent response from his mother and sister, Masamune walks up to his room, ignoring his mother's story of being served kids' food on her date and Chinatsu's mention of their mother winning some lottery. Masamune closes his room door, wears his glasses, and walks as if ready to win a battle. What he decides on doing is read the Women's Bible, in other words, a Christmas romance comic. After reading the comic, Masamune wipes his tears and hopes his Christmas Eve is not overshadowed by other incidents. On the other hand, Aki looks around to find the perfect dress to wear for the date. Masamune decides to ask the class fellow about the potential date options. She suggests to him some good restaurants to choose from. Everyone gets busy in preparations for celebrating Christmas. On the awaited day, Masamune waits outside the movie theater for his date, which makes Masamune take a moment due to looking pretty. He then teases Aki for wanting to cosplay for the day, which she conveniently denies. Aki only agrees to the movie after making sure it does not have any zombies. Masamune apologizes for not renting out the whole theater, but buys an extra seat between them, just to avoid a repeat of last time. Aki, however, sits on the seat next to him as she thinks it won't be nice to sit away on a date. She then gets engrossed in the movie, but Masamune does not seem to be much invested in it, yet he decides to live in the moment and feel happiness. Yoshino is asked by another maid how she looks gloomy on Christmas, as if she is not cleaning a window on the day people celebrate on. The maid hands her a Santa suit and tells her to work. Aki is once again crying after the movie, this time because the movie was wholesome and emotional. Masamune can't seem to find a solution to this, so he cuts her rant off and tells her they have a reservation at a nearby cafe. This stops Aki and they move towards the cafe. Masamune tells her that the place is known for good pancakes, but he cannot seem to find the place even when being at the location. The reason? Well, because the building of the cafe burned down this morning. Masamune panics about their Christmas turning into a bunch of incidents, like those comics. To top it off, every restaurant is fully booked due to the festivity. Masamune sits on a bench, panicking about not being able to give Aki a nice day, but still does not want to give up due to all the hard work and research he put into this date. Not finding any other solution, Masamune invites her to his house. Seeing his determination for dinner with her, she agrees. The house looks darker than usual, but Masamune ignores that and warns Aki that her family may seem a little overdramatic and annoying, but she will get used to their energy pretty soon. The unusually dark house confuses Masamune, but panic befalls him when he reads the note on the table. Chinatsu and his mother went to the hot springs for the lottery ticket. His mother won while his father was away on business. This is what Chinatsu was trying to tell him, but he disregarded it. Both Masamune and Aki panicked over the note. Masamune does not want her to think he deliberately got her alone, while Aki internally thinks exactly that. Not just in her head, she confidently voices it out, making Masamune deny in a shrill voice. Aki then requests a cup of tea, but a spoiled Masamune cannot find tea leaves anywhere. She tries to help him, but ends up finding pancake batter, so the two decide to have pancakes for dinner as planned. Both mock each other for failing to flip pancakes, but eventually manage to make decent pancakes and hot cocoa. Aki seems to love this, but Masamune does not think syrup on pancakes and hot cocoa are good for him. However, Masamune feels glad that Aki looks happy. He then teases her by extending a bite towards her, which she begrudgingly takes by grabbing his arm. Masamune grabs Aki's arm after she adds extra syrup to his pancakes and takes her to his room to show her how much he works out. He also points out the picture of them from their childhood and expresses he has changed now. He vulnerably asks if he is worthless the way he is now, as she wants him to be back to his old self. Aki steps back in bewilderment and stumbles upon a dumbbell, making her fall with Masamune on top of her. Before she could say anything, Masamune feels a sudden stomachache and rushes to the washroom. Aki badmouths Masamune for disappearing, but sees his text of him having an upset stomach, apologizing, and telling her to take the gift from his jacket pocket. Masamune wonders how he broke into hives when Aki touched her arm and then got an upset stomach, which means he cannot touch Aki. Aki reaches back home and sees Yoshino cosplaying for the party being held at their house. Seeing her gloomy mood, Yoshino asks about her date, but Aki tells it went well. Before leaving, Aki weakly asks if she has no appeal as a woman, but does not take Yoshino telling her no. In her room, Aki looks at the dog figures Masamune gifted her and smiles as they resemble her childhood pets. She adores the gift but feels troubled as when she took out the gift from his jacket, a notepad fell on which she found the words, "I am going to get revenge on that woman." Aki can't help but feel sad and worried at what that statement meant.